Something that I always wanted to accomplish was setting up the side of my house. I always wanted my entire area around my house to look like a beautiful garden, and I always just wanted to just plant different things, varieties of plants, vegetables along with flowers. I just always wanted to have plants surrounding my home. At this side of my property, I've always been very reluctant to plant things here because it's at the boundary of my neighbors. And so far, I started a new garden area. It's kind of new. I did plant here before, but we had some trees removed from my backyard. So I thought to myself, okay, maybe I wouldn't garden there this year because it doesn't make any sense. We have so much Bermuda grass that is super annoying, and they're just basically taking over this area. So I said to myself, I'm not going to plant anything here, but then I decided to plant something here anyway because I can't help it. I want it to look pretty. Over a month, I tried my best to pull out as much Bermuda grass and their roots as possible. But if you leave at least one tiny speck of root, then your Bermuda grass will just keep on growing back. So I tried my best to try to get rid of them as much as possible so that I can prep this area with soil on top and I can start new garden bed areas. Everything is still grown in rows. The initial idea was to plant everything here into raised beds, but I didn't think that it was such a great idea since this was still technically the front of my house at the side, and I needed to go get a surveyor to make sure that I was gardening on my side and not necessarily my neighbor's side. So I didn't want to risk it. It's just so much easier to just pull out some things if they're in the ground rather than having to pull the whole raised bed out. So this space is shaped kind of like an obtuse triangle, and so my sections of my beds there are not going to be all even. It's going to be a little bit weird, but I wanted to make about 3 to 4 areas that I can grow different things. I already had went ahead and planted some tomatoes in this area along the border of my property, and there was weeds starting to grow back there, so I wanted to put something down so that it would be easier for me to walk by the tomatoes, and I'll just put wood chips on top. So I used some brown paper and place some wood chips on top. This will help to suppress the weeds that are growing in this area. So I planted out my first section. In this section, I am planting out lavender. I have 2 lavender plants and I got them on clearance. I was super happy. I went into Walmart and the nursery lady was there and she was like, oh, I just marked down those lavenders. There's nothing really wrong with them. It's just that the way that they watered them, they look a little crazy. And, so she marked the prices down and I was so happy. I am a little bit nervous about planting lavenders because I've tried growing lavenders so many times. The most that they've lasted was a year and then they die. And the nursery lady told me the same thing. So I don't know if it's our area, and she said that she has the same problem as well. So I figured It's been a number of times that I've planted lavender and they died. So the next time I'll probably leave them in a pot, or I just won't grow lavender anymore. Next, I am also planting some eucalyptus, which I got from another nursery. And they're still baby eucalyptus, but I have also some random volunteer coneflower or echinacea that has been growing around my yard, so I normally dig them up and put them where I want them to be. For some beauty and for some color, I also added a zinnia plant that was also a volunteer someplace. And that's why I like volunteer plants, because then I could always move them and put them someplace else. So this is kind of a herbish garden, and I think it looks really beautiful. So this area is now completed 100%. My cantaloupe right here is actually growing along here. It's supposed to be growing on the trellis, but it came along right here. And these are still my lavender plants. They're still alive, like, whoo, because I've had pretty bad luck with lavenders. So next to the lavender, I have planted some zinnia plants that was from my front yard. And then I also have my echinacea plant, which is a young echinacea plant still. It might flower this year. We shall see. And then over here, I have my eucalyptus plant. I've been trying to cut it so that it could just get a little bit thicker and grow faster, but that's okay. It's a perennial in my area. As I made my gardening sections, I was planting as I go. So once I finished one section, I just planted in it. And so this is the second section that I am planting in. And I'm going to plant potatoes, sweet potatoes, Japanese sweet potatoes. I did not plan to grow these here or plan to grow them at all, because I didn't even realize that I had the tiny sweet potatoes still left over. I thought I planted all the sweet potatoes that I needed for the year, but I found these in my house that I forgot about, because normally we'll eat the smaller potatoes first, but I still had these, so I just planted them whole. I didn't bother trying to make slips out of them. I just planted them in the ground, and the mother potato will compost into the ground eventually anyway. So, and it'll just create new potatoes. And behind the potatoes, I planted some leftover Roma tomato seedlings that I have left. They look stunted and not as healthy as I wanted them to be. So I just put them in the ground anyway and see what would happen. And that's all I planted in this area. The hope is that tomatoes will grow up a little bit faster in time, that my sweet potatoes wouldn't drown them. Because sweet potatoes, once they start growing, they can be really aggressive. So we have a little walkway here. Walkway, walk on by, right? And then right here we have my sweet potatoes. You see how fast they've grown? Isn't that amazing? They grow so fast. But my sweet potatoes, and then behind the sweet potatoes we have my tomato plants. These tomato plants right here. These are some Roma tomatoes. And I need to put something to hold them up, because they will fall over. They'll fall over like this, so we don't need that. We want them to grow upright. So we are finally moving on to working on the kind of last bed. In this bed, I'm growing some petunias that I got in a package. They were also on clearance, and I got them for $2. So I'm planting them in this section. My daughter wanted me to get them. I'm one of those people, I like going and finding stuff on clearance. It's fun for me. I only get stuff that I really want, not something that I don't need for no reason. But if it's a plant, especially if it's a perennial, I do like to get certain plants on clearance, and that's how I've been able to build my garden. Especially when you go to certain Walmarts, they have a clearance section for plants, especially when you get to around June, July. You can find different things on clearance. and you can add it to your garden collection, especially if you're on a budget. Next, I'm going to grow some Sorrel or Sorrel. I only had a few seeds left because I grew these last year and I wasn't going to grow them this year. And only 2 of them came up, so I'm just trying to just separate them and just grow them in this area. My children really love sorrel. I love it too, but a lot of times it doesn't really get to properly flower because by the time it does, it starts getting cold. We get a frost. But my children do eat the leaves, and I don't mind that at all because the leaves are also healthy for you, even though they are sour. But my children eat them. My children go outside and they just eat leaves, and that's another reason why I garden, is because I love the fact that they can go outside and just pick a fruit, pick a leaf, pick a vegetable, snack on it. It's healthier, and it's something that I love. Next, I planted some broadleaf thyme, or Cuban oregano. I know it as sticky thyme. And then after that, I have more Echinacea. So I just added it to this area. This is the newest bed. In this bed, we have some petunias right here, growing along right here, right? They've been flowering and I've been trying to deadhead them, but I am not the greatest. And then over here we have our sorrel, which is doing really great. I'm so happy. I planted these late. I actually found some old seeds. I was not going to plant sorrel this year. They look pretty good. They get really big, become a big bush. So by the end of the year, that's what they will be. And then there's one close nearby. And now looking at the spacing between them, I'm thinking I should have made the spacing a lot wider, but that's okay. Over here is a ground cherry plant. It did not start producing yet, but it's about to. You can see right here. So we have some water splashed on it from when I was watering. That's no good. I don't like that. We have a lot of, we have to change our fencing. Our fencing needs to be redone. It's pretty old, but I still planted some things here. So I planted a squash plant. I don't remember what squash plant this is. Oh, this is a honey nut squash. So I planted a honey nut squash. It's going along. And it could kind of grow a little bit wild, long as it doesn't go into my walkway right here, which looks crazy. I'm just hoping that the grass will kind of fill in this area. We have some celotias, which looks beautiful. I had moved these in order to plant more beans in my backyard. So I don't expect everyone to care about gardening or care about their yard as much as I do, but this is a problem that I'm encountering right now. This is kudzu. If you live in the South, you know what kudzu is. Here, kudzu. And it grows really crazy. And my neighbor has a lot in their yard, and it's coming over to my side. I don't know what to do. I'm trying to get rid of them, but every time I cut it, it comes back anyway, and it's so aggressive. So I don't know. I feel like my garden eventually, I'll go away for like a week or two on vacation or something, and I'll come back and my garden will be overran by kudzu. The kudzu problem was really the main reason why I was not going to garden on the side of my house at all anymore. The side of my house goes from my driveway all the way up, and this is what it looks like so far. We have a bunch of zinnias. These are all volunteer zinnias. I just let the seed fall, and they come back every spring for the past few years. We had some gladioluses here, which I was trying to remove, but they just, I think I keep forgetting bulbs in the ground, so it's whatever, it's fine. Then we also have some dahlias here. These are some pretty yellow dahlias. I don't know exactly what their names are, but it seems to grow 2 different types of dahlia. Hi Jackie, how are you? It seems to grow 2 different types of dahlia. So it's this one that looks like this, And then we have this one, which I need to deadhead off. It's a little, you know, dead. Well, not dead, but the head is drying up, so, but it's pretty, it's so beautiful. And then we have the, is this a fuchsia? What color is this? Tell me what color this is, all you color nerds. Tell me, tell me. But yeah, so I normally I clip them off, but sometimes I just like this. After my dahlias, these are so beautiful. After my dahlias, I grew some cosmos here, which also needs to be deadheaded. But these are finally growing. And then we have some zinnias. These are also some celotias. I got this from one of my neighbors. And this one she got from Brazil. Her mom brought it back from Brazil for her. So which is pretty cool. Over here we have some bachelor's button. Am I saying the name right? I hope so. Some more dahlias, and my pride and joy is my one and only moringa. It's a dwarf moringa tree. I planted a bunch, but only one lived. It happens. I have a sunflower. I think I planted it too late, so it might not get that tall, but that's all right. And then there's a squash plant here that's growing. It's very close to the sunflower right here. We'll see what happens with that. And then over here we have my Echinacea plant that fell down. I think I'm just going to trim this all the way down shorter and then hopefully just grow up again. In here, it was supposed to be strawberries, but I think I left some potatoes in here. And as you can see, potatoes look like they're dying back. Yeah. Then I have a little gap here because I had my wiring for my Wi-Fi come along here somewhere, and I wasn't sure exactly where, so I'm just going to leave it blank just to be, I don't want to lose my Wi-Fi. And then this is a new area so far, right? This is my lemon tree, small lemon tree right here. My fingers are dirty. I was pulling out some stuff. Over here is some butterfly bush that's finally taken off. Some marigold. This is the Eskimo marigold. I actually really like this variety. I don't know why, but I love it. I love my marigolds to be tall. I don't really care for those short, what do they call, French marigolds? Yes. And this is some zinnias that I planted along here because this is my neighbor's side. I usually just mow along right here to try to fix it. I have some tomato plants here. It's growing. The tomatoes outside of my greenhouse, they don't look as good as the one inside my greenhouse, which is amazing to see. So I think that growing tomatoes inside of a greenhouse is beneficial to the plant itself, especially that tomatoes are so sensitive. And in the month of May, we had so much rain, and I felt like my tomatoes really took a hit from all of that water hitting the leaves over and over again. And then it got hot, so but they're still fine. They're okay for now. We'll see. So these are my cantaloupe right here. It's growing. I need to come along and train it better because it's crowding out my tomato plant right here. This is the Barry's cherry tomato plant, and this plant looks crazy. I have a cayenne pepper. I actually bought this one from the store. And I bought it because I did grow some cayenne peppers. For some reason, they didn't really do so well. The pepper plants themselves, the babies, they started dying off or was stunted. So I just bought one plant just in case because, some people use black pepper as like when they're seasoning their food. I love cayenne pepper. That's what I mostly use. So I thought I could grow my own and then dry it and then blend it down into a powder. And I could use that for my seasoning. And then over here we have, as I said, my honey nut squash. We have my zinnial. There's a morning glory growing on the other side, popping out over here, volunteer. And my celotias. And over here is just a bunch of weeds, but I only left it plain because we have to change all of our fencing, so I didn't want it to be too close to the fence, so I left a big gap there. This is my butterfly bush. It smells so good. Oh, look at this. I love the smell of it. But I wanted one, and I was looking up to see how big did they get, and I was like, oh, no, I could probably get that big. This thing grows fast, super fast. I got it last year, and it was just a wee little plant. And now look at it. It's huge. I'm gonna see if I could propagate it. If I can, I will put this plant on the other side of my house so that it could kind of like branch out and look beautiful. I love it. I love it so much. And the bees and the butterflies, well, mostly moths, they really like it. But I don't see any this morning. Where are all my workers? So we have my butterfly bush, which smells so good. Smells so good. And then over here, my son, okay, there's some weeds growing in here. He loves mints. So I think it's spearmint. I'm not sure. But there's some mint here that he put there to grow, and it's growing. So we have some volunteer sunflower. This is most likely a teddy bear sunflower because it was growing here before. It's all dried up now, and I didn't even remove it yet. But the birds were coming along and eating the seeds, so I let them eat the seeds. My husband is like, just shoot them away. I'm like, no, it's fine. You know, I'd rather them eat the sunflower seeds than eating my tomatoes or, you know, something else in my garden. So it's fine by me. I'm like, they're getting free food. Like the Bible says that the birds, they don't worry about where their food comes from, right? And that's how they get their food. Someone else supplies it. We don't even realize that we're doing it, but we are. And I don't mind sharing a little bit with nature. I don't mind sharing just a little bit. And behind this, which this was not supposed to be here, it's hiding my beauty, my pride, and my joy. My hydrangea. This one is called White Wedding. It's so pretty. This is the beauty right here. It's still pretty small. I got it small. I got to come and deadhead some of these that are spent. But this is what it looks like so far. I've cut a few of the flowers. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. And then over here, I just have some Echinacea, which I planted, which is pretty wide. This one is really stable. I love it. So far we filled in this area, so it looks pretty beautiful. And hopefully one day when everything is all blushing, it could look even nicer. I still want to bring something else right here. I don't know exactly what yet, so we'll see. I'm gonna fill it all in, and so far I'm happy with it. Even though I'm not 100% complete yet, it's a journey. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.